So, what exists that's neither night nor day in terms of time? In terms of space, where is neither indoors nor outdoors? Why would we even ask such questions? What's with this emphasis on liminality, the in between space? Is there wisdom there? Well, today's story will illumine this very principle. I'm Dr. Raj Balkaran, founder of the Indian Wisdom School, host of the Indian Wisdom podcast. And today you'll hear a story that I tell in the Stories Behind the Poses for Simhasana, lion pose. Okay. This story involves, yes, the demons and the gods. Now, demons and gods, although an evocative and captivating image in terms of translations in English, demons and the gods, it's next to impossible to shear away the cultural and theological and philosophical baggage that the words demons and gods evoke in English, because you see these antitheses are much more intimate in the Indic context. The demons and the gods are actually related to each other, right? And the demons and the gods, the question as to whether or not these are ontologically true or historically true, these tales, that to me is besides the point. The point is that they're spiritually true. These tales tell us not about something that happened a long time ago. They tell us about something that is always happening within us. They tell us about the struggle, the interplay between dark and light that can be said to undergird the human experience, the human condition. And so, dark and light, I mean, black and white, indeed. No, of course, life is filled with shades of gray. And so too is Indic myth, because Indic myth astutely reflects what it means to be alive. So you have the demons and the gods, they're related. And, overarchingly, the demons seek to divide. Sound familiar? Turn on the news. The demons seek to divide. Divisiveness is really at the core of what it means to be a demon in this context. And the gods, the devas, ultimately seek to unite, to unify. Perhaps it's a bit charitable, but indeed, in terms of the etymology, the word deva comes from the verbal root in Sanskrit, to shine, to illumine, to bring light. The Daityas and the Asuras, the Devas and the Asuras. The Asuras, the demons, are also called Daityas, children of Diti, of division. They divide. But these great dividers are not without qualities. And these so-called light beings are not without flaws, for such is life. Find someone who is either perfectly good or perfectly evil, bereft of one or the other, right? Such a thing would be, an archetype at best, right? A thought, an asymptote, a line you continually pursue and never reach, right? So one of the fundamental distinctions in the plight of the demons and the gods is that the gods, the devas, are immortal and the demons are not immortal. And this is the problem, because both the demons and the gods work together to collectively churn the amrita, the elixir of immortality. They work together to churn the elixir. This appears in many podcast episodes and many tales. And so I will not go into this tale in technicolor detail. Nevertheless, having worked together, they both conspired to rob the other side, the other faction, of the fruits of that labor. And through a series of near misses, the gods end up procuring the Amrita, the elixir, and they are immortal, and the demons are not. And so the demons are always looking for a way to become immortal. Okay. There's one such a demon whose name is Hiranyakashipu. Bit of a mouthful, perhaps. Hiranyakashipu. He's a sworn enemy of the great god Viṣṇu, who prevails over the world, who preserves in times of need. Right? Why? Because Viṣṇu had actually killed Hiranyakashipu's brother. Okay. And to make matters worse, his own son, Prahlada, was a great devotee of Vishnu. So yeah, it's a bit of a complicated situation. You think you have a complicated family situation? Imagine if your son is actually a devotee of someone who killed your brother. This might create problems, right? So, what did Hiranyakashipu set out to do? Take an anger management course, perhaps, or find a great therapist or a professional such as myself, whatever the heck I do, life guidance work, spiritual counsel work. No, did he find some qualified specialist or self help book? No, 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 no. He decides to elevate himself, to seek to elevate himself to rival the ranks of the gods themselves. He seeks godlike status. He longs for immortality. So he sets out to perform penance, tapasya. Okay, so he's seated in hot, cold, day, night, and everything in between, performing a mantra, a secret mantra that I cannot declare here, to the great god Shiva. So day in and day out, Hiranyakashipu is, and as I say, he's a quote unquote a demon technically, but here he's exhibiting, as do many demons, great qualities, the quality of forbearance, of perseverance, of devotion, of focus, right? Perhaps his object of focus is not so noble. Nevertheless, whether the weight you lift is rusty or not, muscle mass will be gained. So after a great deal of penance, Shiva appears before him, pleased with his colossal sacrifice. And Hiranyakashipu greets Shiva, Hail Mahadeva, the great god, the blue-throated lord of the universe. And Shiva replied, you have duly earned a boon, great demon, for your steadfast penance. Name it and you shall have it. But of course, be mindful that the same stipulations, terms and services, the terms of service apply, terms and conditions, right? The fine print that you can't really wish for immortality, as all you demons tend to. You try to find a loophole and it'll always go sideways. Other than immortality, whatever you want, your wish is my command. He griped a little bit and said, we were cheated out of our share of the elixir of life. And had they not done so, had they not cheated us out of the elixir of life, my brother would still be alive. But Shiva was unmoved and said, I can give you anything except immortality. So reflecting a moment, the demon's face lit up as an idea came to him. Pleased with himself, Hiranyakashipu gave voice to his clever wish. Okay? May I be slain neither at night nor by day, neither by God nor man nor beast, neither indoors nor outdoors, neither on the ground nor in the air. That's pretty clever. I mean, any one of those claws would seem to guarantee immortality, or at least a quite exalted state indeed, that, to not be killed by day or night. Wow, that's kind of cool. To not be killed indoors or outdoors. Wow, that's kind of cool. To not be killed by man or God or beast. Neither on the ground or in the air. Well, what else is left? Well, we'll see. For those of you who are black and white thinkers, nothing else. And for those of you who are creatives, lots else. So Shiva grants the demon his wish, then disappears. He's giddy now, Hiranyakashipu, with his newly acquired powers, and with self-satisfaction and excitement. And, he was self-satisfied that he had tricked the mighty Shiva into granting him, in effect, de facto, immortality. So he turns to his abode, with a swollen head, of course, dizzy and drunk on his own pride. Upon his return, Hiranyakashipu hears the familiar sound of his son's melodious voice chanting the names of Viṣṇu at the family shrine for his dusk prayers. It's dusk, it's towards the end of the day, before night. Drunk with his newfound power and outrages at his son's insolence, I suppose one man's devotion is another's insolence. It's all relative. He bursts upon the shrine and interrupts Prahlada's prayers. How dare you worship that pathetic excuse for a god? He shouts. Do you fawn over him because he's an immortal? Well, today, your father too, I too am immortal. I've just been granted a boon by Shiva. Charming, eh? Charming fellow. But Prahlada was calm, responding, Father, come on. Haven't you watched any YouTube videos or heard any podcasts or studied at any online platforms? Like the Indian Wisdom School or the Oxford Center for Hindu Studies or anywhere. Like, do you not know that demons cannot be immortal? It's written into the fabric of destiny. It goes against the grain of all we know to be true. Insolent fool, barked Hiranyakashipu, the father. I've asked Lord Shiva that I may not be killed by night nor by day, neither indoors nor outdoors, neither by man nor beast nor god, neither on earth nor in heaven. What more does one need to attain immortality, fool? Viṣṇu is no longer greater than I, and so you will stop worshipping him at once and worship me instead. Viṣṇu is no mere immortal father, Prahlada persisted. He pervades the universe, existing in every crevice of creation. He is Lord of all beings. I will worship him for the rest of my days, Father. And if you were wise, you would do the same. Are you truly such an imbecile, child? Asked Hiranyakashipu, his voice trembling with anger. Viṣṇu is everywhere, is he? Well, I suppose he's in this pillar over here too, then, is he? So, what does he do? What does Hiranyakashipu do? He approaches the pillar, and Prahlada responds, Yes, Lord Viṣṇu is the pillar. He's here and there and everywhere. It's called omnipresent. Mad, enraged, Hiranyakashipu grabs Prahlada by the hair, drags him to the pillar, shouting, Well, let's crack your head against the pillar and see if Viṣṇu comes out to save you. It was in that very moment, as the faithful Prahlada's skull was about to be smashed against the pillar, the stone itself cracked open and a blinding light burst forth. A blazing light shone forth from the opened pillar. The blaze coalesced into ferocious form. It was Viṣṇu, but not in his typical forms, not in the forms of his previous avatars, not in his divine form. It's a special, unique form that he took on. What was his form? This was the form of Narasimha, right? The man lion. He was neither fully God, nor man, nor beast. Yes, the creatives are all they're all sort of, nodding in appreciation, and the black and white thinkers might be a little bit befuddled, but it's okay. We'll get there. We'll land the plane all together. Don't you worry. So he's neither God, nor man, nor beast, but somewhere between the three. He grips Hiranyakashipu, the great father of the demon, and drags him forcefully into the threshold of the door, neither inside nor outside. Just so happens, as ordained by destiny, this is occurring precisely at sunset. Neither day nor night. He lifts him off the ground and slaughters him in midair with his powerful claws, neither on the earth nor in the heavens. And as the sun set upon this fateful day, so too the life of Hiranyakashipu came to an end, along with his very short-lived immortality. So there's so much in this narrative, in this story, in this sacred story. People use the word the myth pejoratively. They use the word myth. Oh, it's a myth, it's a lie, it's a this, it's a that. There is that usage of the word myth because of Western civilization's bias towards mythological stories. When I say mythological story, there's nothing denigrating nor dirty about that term. These are sacred stories. These are stories which are spiritually true. Stories about the grandest of existence and ideas therein. And so this mythological story bespeaks the power of liminality. Often, when we are intelligent or bright, or we use our critical thinking, which is extraordinarily important without question, we are called to, by our left brain function or by our discernment, to cut and slice apart, to discern, to separate the wheat from the chaff. Is it this or is it this? Is it this or is it that? And the more clearly we can disambiguate and discern and whittle away what is not needed, that's the more clearly we see what we're aiming for to understand. We're aiming to understand. We're able to discern it, separating the wheat from the chaff, using your critical faculties to ascertain, is it A or is it B? Which is it? Well, did it happen at night or did it happen at day? Well, yes, that's extraordinarily important because material creation, or at the very least our perspective on it, our perception of it, is divided into dualities: night and day, up and down, hot and cold, male and female, perhaps. We have two arms and two legs and two eyes and two nostrils and two ears and two lips, and etc., etc., etc. Right? And so this this mental function to disambiguate between A or B, this is extremely important. But nuanced thinkers and creatives and spiritualists all understand the power of paradox, all understand that there's always a third choice. Whenever someone gives you a hard decision, even an ultimatum, either A or B, leverage your spirituality, your intellect, or your creativity, and find a third option, which may not be so chafing to either of you. Right? And so this is very powerful. I mean, Sanskrit's a really brilliant language. The way it's structured, it's beyond reckoning. Actually, it's fascinating. It's a fascinating language. But one of the interesting features about Sanskrit is that it has three genders. There is the masculine gender, so nouns can either be masculine or, English speakers have no idea what this means. French speakers have some sense of what this means. It is masculine nouns and feminine nouns, right? In Sanskrit, we've got masculine, feminine, and neuter. Neuter means neither masculine nor feminine, everything else. Well, what everything else could there be? Well, culture is catching up to this profound insight that there are even human beings who feel neither male gendered nor female gendered, neither masculine nor feminine, something else. Right? And there's great power in this liminality. Now, it can be quite painful to be in the margins, to be the outsider. But once one has overcome the pain of being ousted or the pain of being othered, then one soon realizes that one's vantage point is much more clear at the periphery than in the center. If you attend an event and you're in the corner of the room, you can see the whole room. Right? If you're in a movie theater and you're in the last seat, you can see everyone else as well as the movie, especially if you're a people watcher. If you're in the center, you can't see everybody else. And so there is an augmented perspective by being in the periphery. This is one important idea. There's also augmented ability in the liminality of being neither day nor night. Day has a particular Shakti, night has a particular Shakti. In that liminal space, it's a space of possibility that transcends the parameters of one or the other. So one of the observations that first came to me when I began studying Hinduism formally in 2004 is that, unlike other religious traditions with which we are more accustomed, Hinduism tends to deal in dials over switches. It often evades binary thinking. Well, is the divine masculine or feminine? Yes. Or neuter. Is it masculine, feminine, or neuter? Yes. It's not either or, it's both and, or all three. However you want to think of that. And so when we think in terms of dials, it's not a question of whether, is it A or is it B, or is it A or is it not A? Where on the spectrum are you? It invites us to think creatively and to transcend the boundaries of the categories of our mind. Right? It expands the vistas of our awareness when we can think beyond such categories. What lies beyond day or night? What lies beyond indoors nor outdoors? What lies beyond on the ground or in the air? And this is the power of this story. The power to find a solution by leveraging one's creativity and embodying paradox. The story really is about the power of paradox. All right. I hope this has been as much fun for you as it has been for me. At least as much, maybe even more, who knows? And we'll look forward to next week with more tales of old and Indian wisdom and all that jazz. Okay? Take good care of yourselves. Namaste.